like for you to put your camera on so we can start putting a face and a name together. They're still coming in. Are we ready to roll, Dr. Stedman?
Let me see. We've got 20. Yes, let's get started, and then we'll just see how many more come in over the next few minutes. But just want to go ahead and say welcome. Most of you we met last evening, or many of you we met through our town hall session. But this is your official beginning of this new journey that you've signed up for. It's as Dr. Lamb said, it's going to be it's a fast journey because you've signed up for the accelerated program. As Dr. Lamb said, there is a lot to do over the next 12 months, but you wouldn't have signed up for this. You wouldn't be here if there's not something in you that wants to take your career to the next level. And I admire you for making this decision. I'm going to tell you up front, I pride myself in working with Dr. Revis, and I pride myself in feeling that we're going to give you the best beginning that you possibly can get. I will tell you, from the minute that you signed up, you belong to us. You're like our children. You become like our children, and we treat you like our children sometimes. We know you're adults, but we treat you like our children. And with that, those of you that have children, and all of you are teachers, so you know what you expect out of your students. Sometimes that is that's the tough love that we have to give. We're going to give you tough love along the way, but I promise you it will be love. I'm going to tell you up front that if you will listen to us, if you'll work with us, and you will persevere over the next 3 to 4 weeks at the most, there's going to be times over the next week or two you're going to say, why did I do this? Why did I sign up for this? Yeah, I can't do this. You're going to have all the reasons in the world why you might want to quit. You better not quit. None of you can stop this program, and you got to promise us right now, pinky promise. You cannot stop right now until you promise that you will call Dr. Revis and or me, and you'll talk to us. We have talked so many students off the ledge, literally off the ledge. They were about to jump, and we've talked them off the ledge, and guess what? Many of them are practicing administrators in schools today. And had they gone on that first week or two, the feeling that they had, the anxieties they had, if they had gone on that and they had thrown in the towel, they would not be where they are today. So you got to promise us right now, Dr. Stedman, Dr. Revis, we're going to trust you. We're going to work with you. We're in it for the long haul, and we're going to make it. Dr. Revis, I'll let you take over now, and then I'll say something after you speak.
Well, guys, it is a fast-paced program, but I promise you, you can gear up for it. And it will be a little adjustment period for you, but you can gear up and you can do it.
She's frozen. And while she's waiting to unfreeze, and when she unfreezes, I'll stop. But one of the things that I want, most of you are practicing teachers at this point. You're still in that classroom, or you may be in a coaching capacity, but you have not moved into the administrative capacity yet. And your thinking is going to be along the lines of, Sandy, can you hear me? You can hear me? Okay. Your thinking is going to be along the lines of, you think as a teacher right now, because that's all you know. Our job from this point, from today, is to help change the lens, literally the lens of how you look through things. Now, you see what I wear, and you'll see me all the time with a hat. I'm called the Hat Man. But this is what I want you to do. You just say that this is my teacher hat. Okay? I have to take off my teacher hat, and I have to put on my principal hat. You've got to begin thinking like a principal. You can't say, well, in the work that you do, you don't ever forget that you're a teacher. Teachers are valuable, they're important. But your job is, all your career, you have taught students. That's what you know. When you become a principal, remember, who teaches students? Teachers. Who teaches teachers? Principals. Who leads teachers? Principals don't lead students. They have teachers there to take care of the students. You work with the teachers so the teachers can work with the students. So I want you to begin thinking every time you do something. Now, I can't approach this. I got to remember that I'm a teacher, but I can't approach this from the teacher perspective. You've got to begin thinking like an administrator. So I want you to look through the glasses differently. You look through the lens as an administrator. You take the teacher hat off. You literally put the principal hat on. And you're going to find yourself over the next 3 or 4 weeks, you're going to begin seeing your thinking change. You're going to recognize your own transition. And you know what? You know how you get together sometime and the principal will make a decision and you get together with your teachers and you know how you talk and you say, I don't know why in the world they did what they did. I don't know why they're making us do what they're making us do. Mm-hmm. How many's guilty of that? We've all done it, haven't we? So guess what? In just a few weeks, you're going to be quiet when you're in those conversations, or either you're going to speak up and say, well, now that I'm in this program, now that I'm doing, I understand why Miss So-and-so did this, or why they required us to do this, or Mr. So-and-so. I understand it now. You know why? Because you're going to be looking through the lens of a principal. You've got the principal hat on, not the teacher hat on, and you will begin transitioning your thinking at that time. You'll recognize it yourself, and it's going to happen sooner than later as we get you engaged in the work that you're going to be doing. Dr. Revis, you back now?
I think I'm back. I apologize.
That's okay. Go ahead.
One of the things that I wanted to mention to you is in Gardner Webb, in our program, and many of you may have friends who've been in the program or some acquaintances who've been in the program. But the thing I really like about Gardner Webb is that all of the work we ask you to do are actual exercises and tasks that you have to do as a school leader. The first thing we're going to introduce to you tonight is a process very similar to what you would go through as a principal if you were leading your school through a school improvement process. So it's not a lot of busy work. There's a very, very specified reason for everything we're asking you to do, and it's very authentic. And I think because it's authentic, sometimes that gets a little scary because we push you very quickly into a leadership role. Now, just by a show of your virtual hands, how many of you right now are in a leadership role in your school? Maybe like a department chair or an instructional coach, maybe even a teacher leader or assistant principal. Okay. So we have several of you who are already in those roles and who are very comfortable facilitating and leading a PLC. Some of you've never done that. Maybe you've led a departmental meeting or a grade level chair meeting, but some of you may not have even done that. And we push you very quickly out of your comfort zone. But again, that's how you're going to grow. You're going to grow professionally and you're going to grow personally and professionally as a leader. So we push you out there really quickly. Again, I can't stress enough, hang in there for the next 3 to 4 weeks. Promise us if you get to where you feel like you're just feel swamped or bogged down or you're going to quit, you've got to reach out to us. Okay.
And Dr. Revis, we have had many students that even though they have been involved in the professional learning community process and leading, once they get into the program, they realize they grow, they're able to take it to another level, and they have actually been able to go back and to introduce some new things to their districts that their districts have decided that yes, this is good enough that we're going to use this. So you know, these are opportunities. What we're doing now, what we'll do from the very beginning, is we're going to push you out of the nest, and you're going to have to present. You're going to have to share, and it's going to put you out front. You know, from day one or from the very beginning, we want people to see the leadership in you. So we're going to require, so you just remember the whole process is about leadership, about you leading and learning how to lead and realizing who the leader is in you. So those are the things that we want you to really think about. Dr. Revis, would you like to go ahead and talk about our first activity, and then we can come back to Blackboard after you've had a chance to do that, praying that it's going to work for us.
Yeah. Okay. So you are assigned a Zoom group. We call them Zoom teams, or we call them peer review teams. But this team of 4 to 5 people, you're actually going to work with not only this first semester, but you will keep this team throughout your coursework the next 2 more semesters after this one. And so we want you to give you an opportunity to do breakout rooms, and we hope we have them set up correctly, and we hope it all works. If it doesn't, I think you just will stay with us. We want you to introduce yourselves, tell a little bit about yourselves, where you work, what you do, and what is your why of getting your master's in school leadership add-on. So
everybody may not be in your team because everybody's not here tonight, but work with whoever's there. I can tell you the last 4 that were assigned to me yesterday, it was late. I know that you're not in a team, but you should end up staying with Dr. Revis and me if you're with us tonight. So
okay, so let's start and see how this works. So
is it working, Dr. Revis?
I can't really tell. It looks like I'm seeing.
See, some of them are not in. They're not in rooms.
Okay.
And if it doesn't, we'll figure it out, and we'll next week.
Yeah, a lot of them are right here still with us.
No, they're. I don't think anybody's gone to a room.
Okay, I'm gonna close rooms.
Don't know what happened, but anyway, it says waiting to be assigned. And they have been assigned the rooms. It says breakout rooms will close in 53 seconds. Okay. Dr. Revis, just close it out. I would just close it out. That's all we can do.
It won't let me, I mean, I've tried to close it and
Okay.
it tells me there's a time limit.
Okay. Okay, it's going to. Well, I'm going to do what now?
Still counting down 20 some seconds.
Okay. Let me do this while you're.
Well, guys, it didn't work for whatever reason. I think everybody's back on.
Yeah, but anyway, that's okay. We're going to figure it out, and we're still going to do it. You probably any of you could have taught us what we were not doing right, but anyway, we'll figure it out and we'll come back to it. In the meantime, we're going to introduce you to this is what this evening is going to look like. We've already done our welcome and comments. We were going to try the breakout session, but we'll make that work next time. We want to do a Blackboard overview, and then we want to get you started with the app. So this is actually under week 1 in your Blackboard shell. These are going to be your week 1 responsibilities. You'll see them in more than one place, but we put them on this agenda so you would have them firsthand. And then we'll come back to this after we talk tonight. This is going to be your first steps with getting task 1 of evidence 1 done. So just know that this is for your information, and it's a reminder of the coaching session down there. And we're going to have questions and answers at the end. What we're going to ask you to do, because a lot of times a question that you may have, if you listen, it probably will be answered later on in the session. So we're going to ask you, as much as you can, hold your questions till the end in case if it's not answered. Simply because if you start asking questions, it delays the process and us relaying the information that we need to give you. And I can promise you this, we will hang around at the end as much as we need to hang on around. There may be some that don't need to hang around at the end, but we won't hang up on anybody that needs us. So we will come back to this. But in the meantime, what I want to do is to go ahead and to let me bring week 1 agenda. Let me bring up okay, this is what I want. Okay, this when you go to Blackboard, and I would hope that everybody should have gone into Blackboard. I know everybody hasn't because we can look and see. When you go into Blackboard, this is what you're going to see when you go into your course shell. You'll find a message from me if you're in my 602 class. If you're in Dr. Revis's 604 class, you will find a message from her. But the other information will be pretty much the same general information, about what you need to do. So I'm going to let you read that yourselves. We're not going to do that. This is what I want to go over. And it's important that you take time to look at every bit of this. Right now, when you click course overview, this is what you're going to see. The course content that's hidden from you. Barnes and Noble course materials. This is where you can order the bundled textbooks. I will tell you, You may have already done it. If you go to Barnes and Nobles, you're going to pay much more money than you need to pay. You need to search around. If you've already done it, it's too late for this semester, but in future semesters, and this is being recorded, and I hope Gardner Webb doesn't hear me say this because I'm sure they do not go through Barnes and Nobles if you can help it, and look for other ways to get your books less expensive. They're going to ask you to on a rental. I mean, the rental fee is astronomical compared to what you could almost buy the book through another source without going through them, and save a lot of money. So I would advise you to look elsewhere for textbooks in the future if you've already gone through that. My grades, that's for you. You can consistently click on my grades, and that will let you know, where you are with the work and your grades at that point. Attendance, that's for Dr. Revis and for me. Now, how does attendance work? You're not required to actually show up each week. However, we highly advise you to show up because we're going to be presenting lots of important stuff every week. It gives you a chance to also to talk with us and ask questions if there's something that you don't understand. However, if for some reason that you're not here, all sessions are being recorded and they will be placed back in Blackboard under that particular week and emailed to you, hopefully that night, so that you can review it, as soon as you can. It is a requirement that you review it if you're not in attendance, but you can always refer back to it. Well, how do you take attendance, Dr. Stedman? You will have assignments that are due every Sunday night by 9:00 p.m. When Dr. Revis and I go into to check our assignments, and we usually we're pretty much sticklers on 9:00, but if something comes in after 9:00, we work with you unless it's on a consistent basis. If it's on a consistent basis, then we have a one-on-one with you, because it shouldn't be on a consistent basis if you're managing your time effectively. However, on Monday morning, when I get up and I go to my office, if it's 8:00 in the morning, if it's 8:30 in the morning, and I look in there and I still see work that was to be submitted Sunday night and it has not been submitted, then I mark you absent for that particular week. You will get a message from Gardner Webb stating that you were not in attendance to class that week, even though you may have shown up. You didn't do the required work for that week. So it's important that you pace yourself and that you get your work in on time. And I'm sure that Dr. Revis, I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think they're going to be A+ students, and they're going to do what they need to do.
Right. And let me
Go
just say
ahead.
this, if something happens, if you have a death in the family, or you're sick or whatever, you need to let us know that before Sunday evening at 9:00. But again, your great uncle can't die 3 times during the semester. We do expect you to keep up. And the reason we're a stickler for keeping up, because the pace of this course is so fast. If you get behind, it's just like it snowballs. And you know that from your experiences in working with your own students. But I mean, we go pretty fast here. So keep up. And if you get behind, that's what you have your coaches for. I coach Dr. Stedman's class and he coaches mine, and we will be there to help you if you get behind. But we don't want you to get behind, because that's when it gets real stressful for you.
And again, going back to excuses, Dr. Revis, now this is not many, but we've had students that had more deaths than the funeral home had, in a semester before. And, after a while, we realized, you can't cry wolf, but so much. So, just telling you up front, we've dealt with it all, but we are realistic, humanistic, and we do deal with, real life situations as they occur, and don't feel afraid to talk with us about that. Remember, this is a Christian university, and so please take the time to look at the Christian community and see what Gardner-Webb has to offer you as it relates to it being a faith-based school. These are your support services. If you need to click on that because this is for you. This would be IT, if you need IT help, anything related to the library. We'll talk about that later on. This is what Gardner-Webb offers you beyond what Dr. Revis and I will do this semester. You need to find out what that is. Again, this is tech support. If you need tech support, it tells you what to do. If you need Blackboard help, it tells you where to go. So you click on that. These are your handbooks, and you will find this is your MELS scale handbook. This is all about the program, everything about the program. This is your clinical internship handbook, and then this is your site supervisor handbook, and your clinical coach 1 will also share that information if they haven't already with you and with your site supervisor when they do either the virtual or the face-to-face visit. So please know that those resources are there for you as well. I'm still from the old school, and I make hard copies of everything and put them in notebooks. That it just makes it easier for me, but it's there for your leisure whenever you get ready for that. These are going to be the Master of School Administration handbooks and competency folio resources. Again, you're going to see the handbooks listed in there again. You'll see some things listed in multiple places. And then lots of other stuff that's going to help you as you are completing the task and the evidence work that we're going to be talking about starting tonight. So again, you need to click on all of this and you need to see what is in there that's going to help me do what I need to do. These are resources for you. Then the Zoom tutorial. All of you probably are Zoom wizards. You've lived in a Zoom world or a virtual world for the last 3 years. So you could probably write the book and teach it. But if you don't understand, if you need something about Zoom, then that's where you would go. This is for my class. This is where you find out who your Zoom teams are. Now, if I've made a mistake on mine, or if Dr. Revis has made a mistake on hers, then please let us know.
And guys, let me just say this. A lot of times, this is Dr. Stedman's class. So if you're in my class, you're not showing up here. Okay. I get a lot of people every semester just frantic because they don't see their name here. Go into your course shell and click on this Zoom Teams, and you should see your name. If you don't, let me know.
Okay. Now, since we did not get a chance to do the breakout and the virtual, then between now and next week, I would encourage somebody in these groups to begin reaching out to the people in your team. You need to communicate with each other. That's the purpose of this first assignment. Some of you have found it already, and some of you have responded already. This is just worth 1 point, but you know what it does? It tells us that you're in there. It tells us that you know what you're doing. But you're to upload your contact information for your team members. It goes into Blackboard. Dr. Revis and I look at it. I'm going to send you a note back and I'm going to say, welcome to my class. I look forward to working with you this semester. But all it does, it lets us know that you're in there, you know what you're doing, and that you're connecting with your Zoom team. It gets you started. And then, at any time, somebody can take the initiative in that Zoom team, and you can say, guys, when can we set up a Zoom meeting just to meet and greet ourselves? You can do that on your own, and I would encourage you to do that sooner than later because you're going to be working extensively together over the semester. So that's where you find your Zoom teams. This is where you will find your 601 syllabus. Mine is the same thing as Dr. Revis's. The only thing is it's got my name on it and hers has got her name on it. It's the same information though. And a lot of this is repeated in your handbook. This is where you're going to find your weekly schedule. Now, in this, you will find other information. This is the recurring links for all Tuesday night classes. And then when we have Thursday night sessions, it's the same recurring link here for all Thursday night classes. You'll find them in multiple places as well. And then if we have a town hall or other special things, you'll find that there as well. But this is what I want you to look at. This is your weekly. This is where
And this is a really useful schedule, guys.
Okay.
It's popping up at the bottom left-hand side, Dr. Stedman, of my screen.
Okay, got you. I've got so much. Okay, there it is. Okay. Okay, there it is.
I like to use this. I use this a lot. And you need to go ahead and put all this stuff on your calendar.
Okay, when you click on it, it starts with, you see week 1. It shows you everything about week 1 that you need to know. It goes all the way to, your assignments. Week 1, these are the topics. Now, the topics, you will find the topics may not be something that we always fully address, but you're going to, a lot of times, this is going to be because you're going to be doing your own reading. This section will be the resources and the reading that you're to do independently every week. This comes from your textbooks and from other resources that we have provided you with. So if it's under week 1 and it's a resource, then you need to prepare yourself ahead of time, and you need to have read that on your own. But this is the biggie right here, your assignments. This is what it tells you that you've got to do for week 1. This is the week. Today starts week 1, or yesterday started week 1. Become knowledgeable of the professional learning community, the PLC process. And then these links will be, these are some things that we have provided you with. This is just to get you started. These are good. This is good information, though, that you'll be able to use. And if we give it to you, you can reference it in your work that you write. Refer to the material section in Blackboard for additional PLC information, and we're going to show you that in a second. But look here. You see what's in red? This is evidence 1. You're going to do 6 evidences over the course of this program, 2 of them this semester. You're going to do what we call the APSL, which is an analysis and action plan for student learning. That is evidence 1. And then about midway, we'll finish this and you'll start on evidence 2, which is the APTEL, which is an analysis and action plan for teacher empowerment and leadership. This is where you would do your research or intensive writing. You'll lead your PLCs, but I want you to look. If it's in red, that means it's dealing with the APSL. Evidence 1. That is important because that means that if you see it in red, that means something is due. That means you got to do some stuff. So APSL Task 1 draft, the draft that we're going to introduce you to tonight and Thursday night, the draft is due the end of next week, not this Sunday night, but your first draft is due next Sunday night. So you'll have a lot of work that you need to get started on this week, and we're going to tell you what you need to do and how you need to do it. Note, APSL assignments are all posted in red. This is where you can set up your Zoom session, and you got free Zoom, and you know that that's for 40 minutes that you can have a free Zoom account. You may have your own Zoom accounts already. I don't know. But this is where you can set it up with Gardner Webb, and you will have 40 minutes to. Now notice at the bottom, you will find it every week. Assignments due to Blackboard no later than 9 o'clock p.m. on 8/28/22, and that's always going to be on that Sunday night until it gets to the very end of the semester, and we'll show you how that changes. Now, I want you to notice here, this tells you the town hall has already happened. We're here tonight, and this is your Thursday night reminder. Now, you won't be doing this all week, all semester. There won't be but one more town hall with two more, one midway and then one at the very end. We'll come back together. You will have 4 coaching sessions for the APSL, but then you will only have 1 coaching session when we get to the APSL. So that's 5 Thursday nights during the semester that we will need you. The rest of the time, it will be on Tuesday nights. There are 15 weeks in the semester. This is week 1 of the 15 weeks. There will be 2 weeks that you will have work to do those weeks, but you won't have to come online. We give you an opportunity to work either independently or to work with your Zoom teams those weeks. One of those weeks is considered fall break, and the other one is getting towards the end of semester, around week 13, I think, somewhere thereabout, that we give you that night so that you can kind of catch up wherever you are with whatever needs to be done. It's a catch breath. Dr. Revis and I come online and we work with whoever needs to talk with us, but it's not a class per se that we will be providing new information. And you'll see it goes all the way through week 2, week 3, week 4, all the way to the very end. This is a very useful tool. And I told you I'm old school. I would print it out. I would print it out if I were you, and I would put it in a resource somewhere that let me see. Go ahead, Dr. Ravis.
Okay, I didn't know if you were lagging or what.
I am.
I
I'm
wanna
trying
get-
to I'm always scared if I get something that I'm going to
Yeah,
mess up.
let's look at week 1 again, just for clarification. I get this question a lot. What
Okay.
is due on August the 28th? What is due? Is task 1 due? No. On August the 28th, the only thing you need to do is be preparing for task 1. We'll share more about that. You need to do your contact information and be preparing to organize your PLC. The draft of your PLC is not due until the end of week 2, which is September the 4th. Okay? So don't get that confused. And you may say, oh my gosh, that's not a lot of time. Guys, it says draft for a reason. We want you to always hand in your best work. But what we give you the first time through is formative assessment. We'll give you formative feedback, and we will share with you ways to improve your work. And then once it's where it needs to be, hopefully through that next week, you're working to revise, then you're going to submit it for final evaluation. So we're always in a formative stage when it says draft. Now, again, we want your best work. Don't throw something down just to say it's done. We want your best graduate level work, but we do work with you and allow you to revise and make corrections before we give you a final grade.
And Dr.
Okay.
Revis, I want to tell you, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but now if you send us something that we know that is just thrown together or whatever, guess what? We're going to throw it right back at you. And we're going to say, send it back to us. Don't waste our time. Send it back to us when it's something that we need to look at. You would do the same thing to your students. So, take pride in what you do the first time. Doesn't mean that it's going to be right. I promise you that most of the time we're going to tell you you got to do something to change it, but that's the whole purpose of it. Our goal is that if you do what we tell you to do, by the time it comes back to us for a final grade, guess what you're going to make on it? 100. We're not going to let you make less
Yep.
than 100 if you do what we ask you to do.
Now, if you don't do what we asked you to do after the revision, then it is what it is. But if you will take our feedback and go back through and do what we asked you to do, and we know that we'll be asking you to do revisions more at the beginning than we will 4 weeks from now, because you'll get the hang of it. But guess what, guys? It's just not us looking at your work. Your Zoom teams members are going to be looking at your work too. You're going to do that process, which we will explain later to you. Probably in week 2, we will talk to you about the peer review process.
Right.
So it's not just our eyes. You're going to put it out there for a peer review as well and feedback.
Yeah, and we're not going to get into this right here. Dr. Revis will, again, this will be fully discussed next week. This is where the case studies are not due right now. So we'll approach this later on. You'll do 2 case studies this semester. This is where, if there's a video we need to put somewhere, this is where we place it. There are some things in there you need to look at it. We will come back to this. A lot of APA format materials are listed in here. We will have a whole session on this week 2 on Thursday night with our coaching session. But in the meantime, you need to take time to look at this yourself. This is all about evidence 1, the APSL task and prompts. This is one of the most important sections that you'll find, the APSL template and materials. I'm going to click on that. This is what you're going to find. In this, we start you out, we give you a lot of help to start with. We actually give you a template that shows you how to set up all the work that you do. All you've got to do is do your research and fill in the blanks. We have headings and everything, and I'm going to show it to you in just a minute. But then we have another document that goes back and it aligns with this template step by step, task by task, prompt by prompt. We break it down and we tell you, this is what you need to do. I'm going to show you that in a minute. This is a complete APSL sample. This is some completed work. Now, when you get it, we're not going to say it's the most quality work that that somebody could do, but it is a complete sample of a completed APSL that you will be able to go back and look at to say, yeah, I'm on the right track. I am doing what I need to do. I'm going to refer to this document before we leave tonight, and you'll hear it again on Thursday night. How do I begin task 1 of the APSL? That's an important document. I'm just showing you where you can find stuff. And then we'll refer to this later on. But this is when you get ready to turn in your final work, what you do. This is a Dover Library link. Dr. Revis and I will be sharing more information about that. This is lots of information as you are setting up your PLC, working with establishing who your PLC will be. Your research, we give you a lot of good stuff to start with. We give you a lot of stuff to help you with. You can use this, you can reference that. And all of these materials down here, you'll be able to use as you are completing work with the APSL. Lots of stuff. So just know that the resources are there. You need to avail yourself to them. Now, Dr. Revis, you need to say anything about that?
Yeah, I just want to point out one thing. You see a lot of resources on PLC by Dufour. Now, guys in education, I think we've taken a lot of latitude with the word PLC or the acronym PLC. Sometimes we call anytime we bring teachers together a PLC. Well, it's not. What we are using in this program is around DeFore's PLC model. So that's what we want to see you modeling in your work. And in fact, you have to use one of your references for your little research part has to come from DeFore. So go ahead and be looking at those things and thinking about when you pull up that research and reading about that PLC model, how that's similar or not similar to the PLCs that you are very accustomed to in your school. I would say that probably 30% of you are using PLCs, the DeFore model, and probably 70% are not quite there. But anyway, we do expect you to be modeling after that DeFore PLC model.
And I want you to pay attention to this. We've already put it in there. When you are working with your committee and you're setting up your PLC norms according to DeFore, we've already put it in there. All you've got to do is to go in here and use the information that we've given you. Now, you can look for other information in your research, but we've given you stuff to start with, okay? What I want to do now is I want those forms, I want to pull them up and show you what you have. This is the, okay, this is your template. Now I want you to look at this. Now, the reason we're introducing you to this, we're going to fully indoctrinate you on Thursday evening with all the tasks of the APSL. But I want to get you started tonight. This is going to be your header page. The only thing that you're going to do there is to put your name here. Everything else stays the same. If it's in black, it stays there. Always remember, if you see something in black on the template, you cannot take it away. It must stay there. You're going to replace this with your name here. That's all you're going to do. Now, I want you to look. There's directions, purpose. It tells you the purpose. If it's in black, what did I tell you? It's going to stay there. Look here. You're going to see stuff highlighted in yellow. If you see something highlighted in yellow, guess what? You have to write. That means you've got to write something. It has to be your research, your writing, what your findings are. Now, once you write it, you take the yellow highlighted stuff out. That doesn't stay. You're going to see stuff written in red. If it's in red, those are some hints, some examples, stuff that we've put in there that will help you with doing the work that you're doing. Now, once you use whatever you want to use, once you have, guess what you're going to take out? You're going to take out the red, because the only thing that's going to stay is what is in black. If it's in black, it stays. If it's in red, that is stuff to help you, and then you're going to take it out. If it's in yellow, that means that you got to write something. Okay? Dr. Revis, anything?
No, but it is important that you go ahead and pull this template. Now, this is the template, and you will work on this template starting with your first task. Okay?
Okay, and that is task. Look at task one. I'm going to talk about task one tonight, and then it's going to be fully introduced. But I want you to look at task one. This is the template, again in black. These are your headings. This is PLC research. Now, it's highlighted in yellow. What does that mean? That means you got to write something, right? Narrative work. Underneath that is red. Those are helpful hints. That's stuff that you need to consider. So when you're doing your PLC research must include a minimum of 3 sources and be written in APA format. The research should conclude with a complete description of the candidate's PLC design. What is your PLC going to look like? One of your 3 sources should be a Richard DeFore reference on setting up and leading PLCs. Now, remember, in those resources I showed you, we've already given you a lot of the information that you're going to put in there. This is going to be what your PLC is going. What is a PLC? What should a PLC, according to the 4, a PLC is? What should it look like? What should be the norms, the standards? Basic PLC research. One of those 3, minimum of 3 sources must be a DeFore reference, and then it can be 2, a minimum of 2 more of any other resources that you want to use. Then I want you to look here. The next section is, we've given you your heading, PLC selection. You're going to write that. That's your heading. It's highlighted in yellow, and guess what you're going to do? You're going to find people that you want on your PLC. Who's going to be on your PLC? Dr. Revis, you want to talk about that, about the selection process?
Sure. Well, I think you want to ask people to be on a PLC, depending on your grade level or your content area. If you're in elementary school and you're a first grade teacher, you might want to see if your first grade team members will be on your PLC, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that. You could get a good selection of a kindergarten teacher, a couple first grade teachers, and a second grade teacher. You want to do a well-rounded PLC. Now, your PLC is about instruction, and it's about teaching and learning. The PLC is not, and I repeat, not about attendance or discipline. You'll do one of those later on. This one has to be about issues with instruction. So think in your mind who you want to be on that PLC. If I am a high school Math 1 teacher, I would probably pull another Math 1 teacher, maybe a couple Math 2 teachers to be on my PLC. Whatever, 7th grade, 8th grade science. You want to pull people, number one, that are willing to work with you, because you're going to be delving and doing a data dive in this process, and you're going to be looking at different strategies, and we'll talk all about that on Thursday night. But it is about instruction and student performance or student learning. So think about that. And then you're going to talk about why you selected these people. It can't be just because they're the only person willing to give you their time. It needs to be because Mrs. Smith is a first grade teacher with 20 years of experience and holds a master's degree in elementary education. I'm going to choose my literacy coach because she's very versed in literacy and has been coaching in our school X number of years. You tell why you chose them, and you identify the strength of those team members. Okay.
Right. And you may say one of them may be nationally board certified. The other may be, if it's science, you may say that this one has expertise in STEM education. There's just lots of reasons why you pick the people. And you're going to go to your PLC meeting. Once you decide who that team's going to be, you're going to meet with those people. You're going to meet with them. And you're going to tell them why. You're going to tell them why, what your purpose is, what you're doing, why you've asked them to be on your PLC committee, what you're going to be doing over the course of the semester, and what you need them to help you do. You're going to establish norms and times that you're going to meet. If it's going to be once a week and that may change some, but pretty standard rules. And when you do meet, what will those meetings look like? You're going to be setting up your standards for the meeting. Now, after that, for every one of these, you're going to follow with a reference section, and your reference section will be written APA style. You're going to at least have 3 references because you will have done it in your research up there. At least 3. And then you're going to have an appendices, and your appendices at the beginning, you will have a minimum of an agenda where you met. You will have a minimum of minutes of the meeting. you will have a minimum of at least a picture of you presenting. That is called an artifact, and you will be using that later on. Also with this, and we'll talk about it, you've got to meet with your principal. You've got to meet with your principal and you've got to say, you know, I'm in this program and they already know that. I am being tasked with to lead a PLC because they've got to allow you to do what you do and have input into it. They've got to say, yes, you'll meet with them. Yes, I'm going to allow you to do it, but you need a written artifact. Now that can be through an email and they respond back via email with an affirmative response, and you can copy that and use that as an artifact, but you will place that in there. That's proof that your principal is allowing you to lead the PLC that you're leading. That serves as an artifact, and you'll be using these artifacts consistently throughout the program to help cover other things. Now that, and then you go into task 2, which we're not going to. I just wanted to get you started on that. I know you've got lots of questions, but just hold that for just a moment. I want to show you something else that's going to help you. Let me.
I think next you're going to show the helpful hints, maybe.
That's what I'm going. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, you're going to love this. This is a document. I really think, I mean, I don't know. I know you guys are in the electronic world, but boy, this is one I would pull off and print off, because this has got step by step everything you need. And we've embedded an example in here. That was Dr. Stedman's idea that we started doing last semester, and it's just great. So you want me to talk about this? I guess.
Go ahead, Dr.
Okay.
And we've already talked about this up here, about the people and things. So let's come on down. Let's actually get started with, this is where they start with the cover page.
Okay, you will have, the very first thing you need to work on this week as well is developing a school profile. And this is before all your task 1. This comes before your task 1. And the school profile is where you tell your story about your school and the surrounding community. Now, all your schools are probably accredited. A good place to find a school profile would be in your accreditation materials, in your advanced ed, or it's called something else now. What is it called? I can't remember. Cognia, South Carolina. Right. Anyway, that's a good place for you to find your school profile. If you're a Title I school, usually you have to do a school profile in your Title I plan. But again, this school profile tells about your school. And here's an example.
And people, some schools have a rich history. And I'll be honest with you, this is one of my favorite things, is to read about a school and to find out the history of some of these schools, how they started and everything. But this gives you an idea of how to get started with things. And there's other examples as well. That's the school profile. And that's something, you don't have to wait on that. You can get started on your school profile now. And the good thing about it, once you develop your school profile, you will use it consistently throughout this whole program. That school profile will follow every evidence that you do.
One of the things I always think your school profile needs to have is maybe a breakdown about your teaching staff, not only the demographics, but, advanced certificates or advanced degrees and that kind of thing. You should briefly describe your school's performance on the last school report card. And you should briefly describe the breakdown of your student population, including, percentage of students who qualify for free and reduced lunch. That helps give everybody a good picture of your school. Okay. And then you start task 1, prompt 1. The first section, guess what? PLC research. And here again, in green, you have to have a minimum of 3 resources, and one of them has to be to 4. And right underneath it is a great example. in APA 7th style.
Okay. We've given you lots of stuff to help you get started, to show you how it needs to be done. Then,
The next section is your PLC selection. And here is an example. This person collaborated and reached out to their principal for collaboration and approval on who to select for their PLC. I'm so sorry. I think I'm the only person that has a phone, a house phone. And they talk about the PLC members, why they were chosen, what do they bring to the table, etc. And you don't, it's not just a bulleted list. We want to see rich discussion and a rich description about your PLC.
okay,
And then you have the heading on PLC meeting. I like to think of this meeting as being an organizational meeting. It's a meeting where you bring your first PLC together. You talk about what is my vision or what is your vision as a PLC and what's the purpose. And you're going to determine your norms. So, in that determining the norms, I think Dr. Stedman's already talked about this. You'll talk about when we're going to meet. And guys, for the first 4 weeks, 5 weeks, you're going to be meeting almost weekly with these people. So keep that in mind. The meetings do not have to be face-to-face. They can be virtual meetings. But I think, you have to be flexible, and because you're asking people to give you a time commitment. But this work that they're doing is worthwhile. It's not like we're making up data for you to dive into. It's very worthwhile information.
it's about your school.
Yes, you're looking at your last student performance data that came out in the spring, and you're going to do a data dive, and you're going to turn that data inside out, upside down. Now, if I were a sitting principal, I would very much welcome a team really looking at the data and telling and coming forward about identifying some areas for growth and improvement. But, that's what you're doing with this team. You are going to be looking at student performance results. And then you have a reference section, and you can see this person, they had, you see the 4 there, of course, but look how many references they had for this one section. And then you will have your appendices. You will see here that there's a permission, there's an email screenshot of where they asked the principal about organizing the team and where the principal sat back and said, yes, that's great. So an affirmative response. You see agendas and notes, and one thing that this person did that I didn't put in this example, they did a picture of them sitting around and leading the PLC. Or
Right.
you can video it. Of course, if it's virtual, then you could do the recording.
And the thing you're going to find with the Apsel helpful hints, we've given you for every bit of the work that every task, every prompt, step by step, we've given you examples of what to do. Okay, now go ahead, Dr. Revis.
Well, I was just going to say, this work that from this example, it made a 4. The highest you can make when you turn work in to TaskStream to your evaluator is a 4. We want to shoot for a 4. Now, the minimum that you can make is a 3, but we want to always gear you up to meet a 4. Is this perfect? Absolutely not. And when you read through it, you may find some APA mistakes. You may.
But it's a good
Because it is not perfect. But it is a good example of the level and quality of work that your evaluator is looking for in TaskStream.
Right.
Now, both of us have been evaluators. We know what they're looking for, and we've taught long enough to know what they're looking for. So, if we tell you you need to do this, we're not telling you this just because we're being peculiar or particular or crazy. We're telling you you need to fix something because we know what the evaluators are going to be looking for. Okay?
Okay, this is also found under week 1, and it's found under the absolute template of materials. This is breaking it down. This is telling you how to begin task 1 at the APSL that we've just talked about. This document is there for you. Everything we've just talked about. Okay, everything that we talked about is there, and it's under week 1. You'll find this document. Now, I want to pull this up, and this is the last thing, and then we're going to allow you to, we're going to stop share. I want you to look, I want you to look at this. This is on the agenda under week 1. This is what you need to get started on, okay? We're going to talk about this again, but don't wait. You know now what to get started on. You complete your school profile. Go ahead and do that. Get it out of the way. You must meet with your principal to ask permission to lead a new PLC. You must determine who your PLC team will be. You must meet with your PLC to thank them for serving on your PLC, explaining to them your purpose for the PLC, and establish PLC norms and responsibilities using the 4 as your guide. And then I want you to look at number 5. You are not identifying a problem with task 1 of the APSL. Your goal in the APSL is you're going to find what you consider, based on what the research says and what your data does, what is the most pressing need at your school, because you've got to attack that problem, because it's all about student achievement with the APSL, as Dr. Revis said. So if it's what you've got to move the pendulum. So you've got to put a plan in place, an action plan in place that's going to help move your whatever that problem is from point A to point B, but you're not ready for that yet. So don't start your meeting with saying, well, we know what the problem is. You don't know what it is yet. You may think you know, but you don't know what the problem is or the problems are yet. So you're not identifying a problem with task 1 of the APSL. Do not begin your PLC by stating what your most pressing need is. You will lead the PLC to determine this later in the APSL process. Okay? Dr. Revis, any comments on that?
Yeah, just again, don't go too far in this first meeting. All you're doing in the first meeting, I call it organization. Okay. You don't start talking about data. You'll do that later in the next task. You'll talk about what you're just organizing, and you're describing what you are going to be doing. And that is doing a data dive on your most recent student performance data sets. Okay.
Okay. I want to, let me see. Gallery. There we are. Okay. Now I can see all those beautiful and good looking faces. Now's the time. We've given you a lot. We don't expect you to absorb it all tonight, but this is a good start. We wanted to lay a foundation for you. On Thursday night, we're going to lay it out so that we're going to introduce the entire APSL, so that you'll have a big picture of what it's all about. You need to, as you begin your work, you need to know what the end should look like. So you're going to get a big picture of it, but that's the elephant. But you can't eat that elephant but one bite at a time. So when we talk about task 1, we don't want you to get caught up in the big elephant on the table. We're going to show it to you, and then we're going to bring it back to task 1. And we're going to focus on task 1 and get you established with task 1. Then we'll move to task 2. Now, what you're going to find is that as we get started, now next week we said that task 1 Sunday week, that task 1 will be due for instructor review and comments, and we will talk to you about the peer review process at that time as well. But now, after week 2, week 3, let's think about week 3. That week 3 is when task 1 will have to be completed and turned in on that Sunday night for a final grade. But when you turn in task 1 for a final grade, guess what is due for review that same night? Task 2. So once you get past task 1, we get started, you will always be turning in a task for review and a task for a final grade at the same time, once we get past week 2. So I want you to get that in your mind and begin thinking, because you've got to pace yourself. Now, what I would ask you to think about doing now, it is important. You need to talk with your families, and you need to say, now look, the next year of my life, I'm not going to forget who you are. I still love you. You know, you're going to love your babies. You're going to love your spouses. You're going to love your significant others. But tell them, I need your support. There's going to be times that somebody in the family is going to have to take the babies and do something with them so you can have some quiet time to get work done. You need to figure out what that's going to be. You need to say, okay, this is when my work is due. You can't wait until you come home from church on Sunday or cook Sunday dinner and say, okay, I'm going to get my task 1 done Sunday night. It won't happen. You will find yourself frustrated. You'll want to throw your hands up and quit. We don't want that to happen. So you need to go ahead and figure out, pace yourself and say, you know, I know this is what I've got to do. Your life's going to change somewhat, but guess what? In a year's time, I promise you, in a year's time, you're going to look back and you're going to say, man, I am glad I did what I did. And you're going to be so proud of yourselves. You are going to be so proud of yourselves. It just thrills me, even in this class. By the time we get to about midway, Dr. Revis and I, we talk about it. We call each other almost every day, and we talk about the changes that we begin seeing even in the work that you turn in. We can see it happening, and the language of how you're saying things. I think you hear it from both of us. We are very, very passionate about what we do. We take it seriously. You know, you're wanting to lead schools. You're wanting to take charge of the lives of children, the lives of teachers. You want to be change agents. And Gardner Webb is holding us responsible. The state of North Carolina is holding us responsible for making sure that you are ready when that time comes. And if you'll listen to us and you'll work with us, that time will come for you. Dr. Revis?
Well, again, you know, I feel like I'm a successful instructor when you are successful students.
Oh,
And
me
so
too.
we're here to help you be successful. Now, you know, I'm going to call a spade. If you're lazy, you're lazy. But if you're in there working and you need some extra help, hey, I'll Zoom with you. I'll talk on the phone with you. I will do whatever I need to do to help you and support you. And Dr. Stedman does the same thing. But guys, you got to get it figured out. You know, on the town hall last night, Dr. Lamb said 20 hours a week. He's not kidding. Between what you're doing for this and your clinical work, now some of what you're doing here on these authentic tasks can count for your clinical hours. And I know your CC1, when they visit you either on face-to-face or virtual, we'll talk about that. But guys, you've got to carve out time. But it's an investment in you, and it's an investment for your family. Because when you can get on the track of being a school leader and a school administrator, financially, it will be the best thing you can do for your families. And not only that, it's going to be so rewarding for you to be able to reach many more students and make a bigger impact on your school. So we're here to help you, but don't delay. When we get off this Zoom tonight, you start getting yourself together. You start trying to look up your school report card. If you don't know how to look up your school report card, figure that out tonight. You should know where to go to on the state website to get your school report card. Start looking at that. Start trying to find information about your school and your community. Look on your school website and see if your school website contains any information that you could pull off of that and put in your school profile. You start using your time immediately after tonight and start working every spare minute you have and knock this stuff out. And you will be fine. I promise. All right, that's all I'm going to say.
That's okay. And I know, and that some of you, I've already tried to figure out where some of you live. And I say, Sandy, I know you're in Fayetteville. Crockett, I know you're in Fayetteville. I can find you. So, and I'll be talking to you in Camina in the morning. So, so I'm already figuring out locations of where people are. I got some people in Hope County. So I got people that live nearby me. And then Dr. Revis has some people that it doesn't matter. We'll find you. We'll call you. We'll track you down. Everything. I ask you this. I know there were a lot of apprehension with some of you to begin with. I hope, we've said a lot, but I hope that we have de-escalated some of the anxieties that you were having, that you can do this. We're going to help you do this. We're there to help you be successful. If you're not successful, guess whose fault it is? You can point your finger at you because it's going to be you. It's not going to be us because we're going to be there for you. So what questions would anybody have before we close out? This is your time. I know you've probably got a lot of thinking to do about some things already.
And one of the things, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dr. Rivas.
No, one of the things I was going to say is, now is the time where if we could get those darn Zoom teams to work, we would put you in Zoom teams and let you in small groups kind of process what we've gone over tonight. But we can't do that. We can't get it right. So, Sandra, go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, good evening. I am, to take the guesswork out, Dr. Stedman, I'm in Charlotte.
Okay.
Okay. But you guys are doing a tremendous job. You can tell that your passion is there. I hear it, I feel it, I can sense it. So thank you for that. My question is, Dr. Rivas said that we were in your class tonight, but not on her class Zoom. Does that matter? That's my first question.
Dr. Revis and I will come online every week together. We work together every week. So if you're in Dr. Revis's class or you're in my class, we come together for this same session every week. The difference is that if you're in my class, if you're assigned to me, I give you your grade in Blackboard. Dr. Revis will only help you if there's needs beyond, sometimes I might say, I need Dr. Revis to have another set of eyes to look at this and to maybe guide you. She may say something differently that will cause the light bulb to come on that I haven't said, and vice versa. Her students are mine, so that sometimes she'll say, well, I've done all I know to do. Can you talk with this person and maybe you can help them in an area that they may be struggling with? The other thing is, you've got all of our phone numbers. If you can't reach me, it's the same thing as calling Dr. Revis if you're in my class, or if you can't reach Dr. Revis, it's the same thing as calling me if you're in her class. It doesn't matter. She can answer for me. I can answer for her as it relates to the work in this class. So that gives you an easier way of getting up with somebody if you need some help, because she might be going to the beach and laying out on the beach or something, and I'm at home working in the yard with my phone, and I'll answer, or vice versa. I'm just using that as an example. We just want you to know that we're both accessible. We're coaches, but you'll find that pretty much it's limited to what because it's not needed most of the time, but that resource is there if you need it.
Okay. And then my second question is, last night on the town hall meeting, I watched it later because I wasn't able to actually join you guys live, so I do apologize for that. But Dr. Lamb talked about the task stream email. I never got that. So I
Well,
didn't know.
Do you have a Gardner Webb email?
Yes.
Okay, that's what he's talking about. You don't have anything for task stream yet. That will come later on, and he'll talk about that on a Thursday night session. So he just said that that will come, but you don't have it yet.
Okay. So our weekly meetings are Tuesday and Thursday for CC1, correct?
Yeah. Well, Tuesday is our regular weekly class. Thursday is our coaching class for the next 4 weeks.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up email. Guys, check your Gardner Web email every day. I have it on my phone. Now, if I can put it on my phone, I know you guys can put it on your phone. You need to check it daily, 2 or 3 times a day, because that's how we're going to communicate with you. I'm not going to send it to your school email or your personal email. Everything I'm going to do is going through, or we do, will go through your Gardner Web. So get it on your phone so you can check it periodically. So it pops up and you know.
And my last question, and I see another hand up, is when we turn in our assignments, do you want them in a Word document or as a PDF?
A Word document.
A Word document. Okay.
Yes. Word
Only Word. If you turn it
Only
in
Word.
PDF, we'll have to send it back to you.
PDFs go
Okay.
crazy. They just, Word documents work. So
Okay.
thank you for asking that, Sandra.
Okay.
Okay. M. Brune, I can't remember what the first name is.
It's Michelle.
Michelle. Okay, Michelle. Okay.
Okay. Good evening. I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
So one of my questions would be that I am at a private school where we're a fairly small staff. We're one grade level, or one teacher per grade level. I am this year the chair of a small PLC for grades 3 through 5, which would include myself and 2 other teachers. I'm not sure if that would be the best PLC group to use. I have a 2nd year teacher with me and a 4th year teacher with me. Both are new to the school last year.
Okay, Michelle, I think I meet with you and your principal, Krista. I meet with you on Thursday at 2 o'clock. I will go over that with you. Yours is a different situation with your school, and I already have marked that. We will talk about that, and I will guide the 2 of you on what you need to do on Thursday, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome.
Any other questions?
I had a couple of questions about meeting with the principal to talk about the PLC assignment. The first question is there a recommended number of people to recruit for this new PLC? And does this PLC continue through the duration of the school year this year, or is it only for the fall semester? I'm thinking about letting those people know what their requirements would be.
Those are good questions. Your PLC will, the people that you put on your PLC could be consistent people throughout for the entire program. However, Kim, they could change because you may realize after the APSL, you may realize that maybe somebody is not the best person, to be on the PLC, or some things could happen. So you can change PLCs. You can change members on your PLCs later on. So, the membership does not have to stay the same. Some of them will remain the same, but sometimes they have to change based on circumstances. So that's entirely left up to you.
And what is the recommendation on the number of people to get on the PLC?
3 to 5.
3 to 5.
3 to 5.
And Dr. Revis, okay. And Dr. Revis, you mentioned a deep data dive. So does it matter if we dive into math or reading? I'm going to be in an elementary school. So Like, could it be just a math PLC or reading or?
Absolutely. It can be either. You might want to, when you talk to your principal, you might want to ask him or her,
Okay.
does he or she have a preference? You might want to start out looking at both reading and math, and then you are narrowing down and finding that, wow, we've got more of an issue in math than we do of reading. So particularly as we dig deeper, particularly as at grade 5 or 4 or whatever. So, let the data guide where you focus. But you can consult with your principal on that as well.
Thank you.
And Kim and all of you, your CC1 is going to help you with this too. When that CC1 either Zooms or does the face-to-face visit, whatever happens, this will be discussed with them as well during that time. Okay, Antoinese, after you, and then Kristen, and then Miss Green. I can't read. Don't know your first name, but Antoinese, if you'll go first.
Okay, my question was, so I'm already a curriculum facilitator at the school, so I already, have permission to do PLCs and things like that. So is that something that I still need to, is it something different that I need to do some other permission or something like that?
No, that's a part of your job, but you'll still have to go through the process of, having your artifacts, having get that. But what I would do is I would, it's an opportunity to really focus in, in your conversation with your principal about really attacking something that's very passionate to you based on what you have found out. Sometimes there's needs and you keep putting something on the back burner. Take it off the back burner and say, let's attack this. That's an opportunity to look at something like that. But no, if it's a part of your job already, then you've got to fit what you're doing in with what you have to do. Okay, does that answer it? Okay, Kristen.
Dr. Stedman, I'm going to have to, I hate to do this. I'm going to have to bug out and get online with that other class.
Okay, go ahead. I'm fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Guys, reach out to me. My rule of thumb is I would rather you reach out to me with questions before you get too far down the road if you're unsure, rather than you do a lot of work and be on the wrong track. Always reach out.
Me too.
All right. Thank you. I'm sorry I've got to bug out.
That's okay. I'll see you on Thursday.
Okay.
Kristen?
Hello.
Hi.
I'll just let you know that I'm in Spartanburg County in South Carolina.
Okay.
My question is, Lana, is that you? I know somebody. All right, so I'm just kind of confused about the internship. Like when I'm digging into the files, I don't see a lot. So is that to come, or is there something I need to be doing this week to prepare?
No, when your CC1 will visits you, your clinical coach 1, and you
Okay.
should be, if you have not heard from your clinical coach 1, you should hear over the next few days.
Okay.
And they will either visit you face-to-face or they'll set up a virtual visit, and they talk about the internship at that time.
Okay.
Okay, so that's to come. Okay,
Got it.
and Miss Green, what's your first name? Okay, and I can't hear you. Okay, still can't hear you. Try to find it, and I'm going to move on to Neely, and I'll come back to you. Neely?
Yeah. Quick question. So first, multiple administrators, are we supposed to know which one we need to be with, or do we
Okay,
need
Neely, you cut
ask
out on us. We can't hear you.
them? Does that make sense?
No, we can't hear you.
Can
You're breaking
you
up.
hear me now?
There's
Check.
something wrong.
Hold on. Can you hear me at all now?
Yes, that's better.
Let me see if I need to turn my Wi-Fi off.
Okay.
Okay. if you're a school with multiple administrators, are we supposed to know which one we're supposed to be
Yeah,
with?
whoever, yeah, somebody had to sign off for you to be in the program. So that I would say the principal of the school, and then if they want you to work under,
Okay,
if they want you to work under somebody else, then that's okay.
okay,
If it's an assistant principal, but I would say that it's the principal at this point.
thank you.
You're welcome, Kelly.
Appreciate that.
I'm also in Spartanburg, South Carolina, so that's a great
Okay.
thing.
Okay,
I'm an instructional coach, so I
Okay.
guess my PLCs are pretty much my administrators. So, and I'm the only one. There's 4 of us at the district, but I'm the only one at the high school and freshman campus. So as
But-
far as PLCs go,
your PLC could actually be you leading a group of teachers, a cross-section group of teachers too. I mean, you've got a
Okay.
lot of creativity with that.
okay, so I can choose any
You can,
and
yes.
just stick with them because I
Yes.
work with all of the teachers.
Yes,
So,
yes, you can, yes.
okay,
And you
okay,
already,
perfect.
again, it goes to what I said earlier. I would really think about trying to attack a problem that has kind of been put on the back burner that you really need to, it's an opportunity.
Perfect. We have a ton of those, so I got it. Thank you.
Okay, okay, Ms. Green, can you talk now? It's still not doing. We can't hear you.
She put something in the chat, I think.
Okay. Okay, let me. Okay. Let me find it.
I'll read it for you, Dr. Stedman, if you
okay.
don't mind.
Yeah.
Her question says, not sure why my microphone isn't working. I am an AP teacher. Could my PLC team be made up of other AP teachers specifically to address AP issues?
Absolutely. Did you get that? Yes, that can. You can address AP issues. If you can hear me, put your finger up, Ms. Green.
Ms. Green,
She can't hear me. Type
I'll
back in,
text her.
text
I'll
her,
text her and let her know.
tell her I said absolutely yes.
Okay,
Okay,
I will.
are there other questions that I have not addressed? These have all been good questions, and you're going to find a lot of questions start with, but then it'll start, they become less and less because you'll figure a lot of things out. You can text me, you can email me. I respond back pretty quickly. If you call me and I don't answer, tell me who you are and make sure you leave me a phone number where I can call you back. If I'm in a meeting, I do work full-time still. So, I'll contact you in between meetings sometime whenever, if it's during the course of the day, but it's okay to call me. Okay.
last question before you go. When will we start seeing grades? Like maybe after week 3?
No, when you do your contact information,
Mhm.
you'll get a point for that.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I've done
that's your first grade.
Okay, good. I've done that.
And then
Thank you.
the next grade will not come until you submit your task 1 for instructor review. That will be your first grade.
Okay. All
But
right.
that is the one, Sandra, that you may, it may be 100 the first time, but if it needs work, it's not going to be 100, but you can go back and fix it and send it back and until you get 100 out of it.
Now, you
Okay.
task 1 instructor review. I'm glad you said that. My principal said something about having a list of items that he has to check off.
He doesn't have to do that anymore.
Okay.
And
Okay. Good.
your CC1 will go over that with them as well.
Okay. Perfect.
Good.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Well, guys, this has been good. I look forward to seeing you on Thursday evening And again, we won't be this late every week. It won't be like this, but we know to begin with that it's going to happen. But but we want to be here as long as we need to be here. Again, if you think of something tomorrow, don't call me between, no, tomorrow is okay. It's Thursday. I'm on a dissertation committee from 9 o'clock until 11 o'clock. So I would not be able to talk to you then. But other than that, I'll be working at my desk tomorrow, and I'll be glad to talk to you if you need to. Okay. I'll see you on Thursday. I'm excited to be with you this semester.